Hello and welcome to Life with Francie podcast, a place where you will find all kinds of conversation like mental health, self-care, self-love, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a place where we support one another to get to the next level in personal and business life. Hope you enjoy this episode. Now, let's get this show started. On today's episode, I have the pleasure to talk to Mandy, a top executive psychology coach and licensed mental health professional. So, I'm going to have fun with this conversation with how much as I love talking about mental health. So, let's welcome Mandy to the show.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you for having me.
So, what is Life with Mandy all about?
So right now, currently, life with Mandy is busy, but it's really good. I'm in the process of writing a book. I'm building some retreats and workshops that I'm excited about doing while running my private practice and doing some of my executive coaching. So I have a lot going on. Outside of that, though, you will find that I will spend most of my time outside with my dog. My little therapy dog, Bo, he comes with me to the office, and yeah, that's about it. Or playing poker. You will also find me playing poker.
Oh, that's awesome. Girl, you sound like so much fun. And I love how you are a licensed therapy, but moving into or have moved to the coaching, because I know it's two totally different worlds.
Yeah.
And I love how you're combining them.
Yeah. Well, because that's such a blurred line for coaches to not go into doing therapy, right? And so for me, I have the ability to be able to take it wherever it needs to go and help my clients that way without having to refer anyone out.
Yeah, I love it. So, yeah, tell me more about the retreat, the books, anything you want to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. So the retreat is, I've not nailed down the name yet, but it's going to be on leadership DNA. And essentially, I'm helping executives walk through what their operating system is currently. And our operating system is essentially how our brain is wired, how your brain is wired, specifically personal to you. And that comes from our own genetics, our own upbringing, our life experiences, and those are connected to either a lot of healthy and adaptive beliefs about yourself or some unhealthy and maladaptive beliefs about self. And these are all very subconscious things, because 95% of our brain is subconscious. What you and I are doing right here, right now, that's only 5% of our brain. So when people say, I don't want to go look at the past, but they're having issues presently, then I say too bad. Because the past is present whether we like it or not, and you don't ever have to stay stuck in the past. And so that's kind of my goal, is to help people rewire the brain into a new, essentially uploading new software, new operating system, operating out of a more accurate, optimized, healthy belief of self, so that you can function more optimally in all the different areas of your life, personal and professional. And so the retreat is going to be based off of that. I have a couple classes coming out on that. And then my other class is going to be on imposter syndrome, something that we all experience. And there are literally 5 steps to moving through that when it comes up for people that I am going to dig in deep to with them.
Wow, yeah, and I know most of my family just is the type that don't want to deal with the past. I'm the opposite. I'm stuck in the past.
Gotcha. Yep. Trying to move forward.
Yes, it's very, very hard. And so yeah, what advice on that one?
Well, one of my favorite sayings is super cheesy, but I don't care. I really like it.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
it's helpful, and it helps a lot of clients. It's an inch is a cinch, a yard's too hard. So essentially, it's figuring out what is that next inch gonna be. For some people, that is, I'm gonna put both feet on the floor today. Some people, that's I'm making a sandwich is going to be my inch. Or it could be something, obviously, not as function, like having to function in the day-to-day as that, but it is what is that next 2% that is going to help me move through the trigger where I'm stuck. And that can look like a lot of things for different people, but
Yeah.
it's like, how do you eat an elephant whole? You do it one bite at a time. Same type of concept, of trying to be kind and gracious with yourself while pushing yourself to lean into some discomfort so that you can move forward.
I just learned about grace.
Mm,
I've been giving myself a lot of grace lately.
mhm.
And then
Yeah.
one of the podcast guests, the interview hasn't go live yet, but he said empathy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an empath, but I don't give myself empathy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of us empaths are the worst at that, and that, I mean, and I am as well. So and I don't know about you, I'll speak for myself, but as an empath, I really pick up on people's energy quickly. And I've learned that there is on average a 5 to 7 foot radius of energy that we feel from other people. And so when I come up to someone or approach someone, I don't necessarily analyze what it means, but can just sense it. And I can sense how they feel very quickly through different things that they say and expressions and stuff like that. And so the beauty is that, we're able to understand and even see how some people feel before they even realize how they feel about whatever it is. We will probably also be the first to cry at a funeral, which then gives other people permission to cry at the funeral.
Yeah.
I think that that's a superpower and it's a strength. I was always in my marriage before and growing up some criticized for being too sensitive. And in my own work that I've done over the years, learning that that is a superpower, and the people who have been like that to me in my life are those who have just tried to use that strength against me. And so, but with superpowers, uh, everything has its kryptonite, so
Yeah.
to speak. And so so that's a strength, but we can get into an unhealthy part of that. So when I'm not speaking up about my own feelings and thoughts and needs and wants, and I'm just concerned with the other person being happy and comfortable at the expense of my own, that's when it's an unhealthy part of yourself for sure. And so learning how to get your voice back, learning how to value yourself just as much as you value other people, is important. Someone told me a long time ago, what did they say? That the more you learn to love yourself, the more you'll be able to love other people. And I was like, bullshit. I love other people so well. But as I've done my own work, it is so true. I have such more of an understanding and a capacity to love even more, the more I put good attention on myself with self-care and growth and all of those things.
Yeah, I can see that. As I'm new to this journey,
Mm,
and as
we
she
have to
was
start
talking
somewhere.
about, yeah, not having a voice and caring about
Mhm,
other people's feeling and all that stuff, I just did my mental health evaluation, and that was one of the things that the psychologist pointed out.
mhm,
He's like, you don't talk like about your wants or desires or anything like that. And I
mhm.
was like, not really, because it feel like a bother or
Right,
whatever.
right.
And to find my voice again. So that's what I think
Mm,
he's like gonna help me with my confidence level
good.
and things like that. Like, and on the podcast, it might sound like I got my life together. Not really, if you listen to it, but but that confidence comes out. But
Mhm,
one, I don't. I express my feelings, but I don't at the same time. If that makes
mhm.
any sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Like when it
yeah.
comes to my needs or my wants, I'm not
Sure.
comfortable sharing it.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, and it all, whatever anyone's hang up is, which can be multiple things, or a stuck point. A stuck point is repeated patterns of certain behaviors or thoughts that keep you feeling unhappy or in, you know, unhealthy or unsuccessful relationships or unable to advance in your career the way you want to. And all of that is going to go back to some belief that got formed about yourself a long time ago. And our brain can't hold conflicting beliefs. So when those sorts of like self-sabotaging behavior happens, it's going to go back to figuring that out. And once we can figure out what we're really believing about yourself, that probably, actually, it wasn't true to begin with, and isn't true now, then you can begin to start to heal from that. I can give an example of my own life. In third grade, I remember we had just moved down to Georgia from Baltimore for my dad's job. And, you know, little scrawny kid with big red glasses and, you know, messed up teeth and all of this stuff, right? My hair hadn't met a hair straightener yet. And as I'm, you know, going through third grade, I have like two friends, and I noticed that these girls, one of them or both of them I would get left out a lot, essentially. And so one day on the playground, I had the guts for, I don't know why, but I said to the one girl, "How come you play with her more than me?" And without missing a beat, she said, "Because she's prettier than you," and walked off. And I just cried in the playground. I'm an internalizer, so I didn't tell anybody about it. I grew up with two older brothers, so you don't cry in front of them. Otherwise, they're gonna either, you know, make fun of you or whatever. So I learned to keep that stuff to myself. But in my little mind, that was the reason why I didn't have friends, because of what this person said, right? And so again, this is looking back as an adult when I've done my own work. So looking back, I can see how a lot of my people pleasing behavior and anxiety, where that came from, because then at that point, any other social interaction that I perceived as negative or negative towards me, in my mind, it was confirming that, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not likable enough. I'm not pretty enough, whatever that not enough is. Because again, our mind can't hold conflicting beliefs. And so it's going to try to scan for the evidence that's there with it. And then, like I said, that develops into really unhealthy coping skills and, you know, toxic ways of living that increase over time. And so, but looking back, you know, I would never say to a 3-year-old who had that, or a third grader who had that experience, they were totally right. Like, you know, it's because you weren't pretty enough. I'd be like, no, you don't want to be their friend if they're going to treat you like that. Like, you're fine just how you are, you know. But again, didn't talk to anybody about it. That was my perception at the time. And so, but from that, there's like a huge, you know, neural network in your brain that's all formed around this belief of I'm not good enough or I'm not pretty enough or whatever it may be. And so we have to unlearn that stuff and start to relearn what's really true and how to operate out of that.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Oh,
That's for
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah. That's why doing the work is, I always tell my clients when they come into my office or, you know, meet with me for a session virtually, that, you know, they're the brave ones. They're people who are willing to face the fact that they have problems and issues and struggles because they're human, and do something about it. And it's uncomfortable at times, and sometimes it feels worse before it gets better, but it gets better.
Yeah, that's for me now. I have been on and off therapy for a decade. And the past year, I have worked through a sexual trauma mentor. So she has helped me a lot because with all the therapy and everything, I was still not speaking about it. But if they didn't know about it, how could I speak about it?
Sure. Yeah.
And I was just ready to deal with it. But with the mentor, because it's like more of a personal relationship, in one of the sessions, my boyfriend did the betrayal trauma. Woo, that was a fun session, causing myself to have a panic attack. But then she was like, oh, we're dealing with something serious and you're not speaking about it.
Yeah.
So it helped me out. And then now we can deal with where the unworthiness, not feeling enough, and all
Yeah.
of that stuff
Mhm.
coming through. And I love inner child work. So when you
Mhm.
said your
Yeah.
third grader, mine is a
Yeah.
9-year-old.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
She gives me a lot of headaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love her. I love her. She
Mhm.
has she's relentless, that's for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's important. Like we all have different parts of ourselves and our, the structure of your brain doesn't know time. So if you don't do the work to um, resolve some of the issues and to work through, the automatic thoughts and the difficult feelings and where they come from and all of that, then that part of you is going to continue to be reinforced and exist, but it's just a part of you. So sometimes that 9-year-old you probably comes out, and other days you're your complete functioning adult self. And it's learning how to work with all the parts of yourself. um Sometimes we have to assign parts of ourselves new roles, right?
Yeah.
uh so yeah, no, I totally get that. And EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a trauma treatment,
Yeah.
and I love it. I'm a certified clinician in that, and the success rates are remarkable. It's 80 to 90% uh, successful in minimal to no more post-traumatic stress symptoms within anywhere from 6 to 18 sessions at max. So you can spend a year and a half, 2 years in therapy, or you could do EMDR. And it's a neurological process instead of a cognitive process.
I
Um,
have heard
yeah.
of it. I
Mhm.
haven't done it, but it's in my bucket list
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
I've done my own EMDR therapy for a traumatic event. That took me about 5 sessions. Another one that I did took me about 2 or 3. And now it's not an issue anymore. I'm not having any panic attacks. I'm not waking up in night sweats because I had a nightmare, not hypervigilant and, looking at my surroundings all the time. Um, it's a really remarkable treatment. And so, with that, I get a lot of, obviously, people with, trauma, any sort of abuse, but military, first responders, police officers,
Yeah.
people like that as well will seek out EMDR for that very reason.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested about it, because in my situation, one therapist compared my situation to um going into the military, doing what you need to do to survive, get the mission accomplished, and then come back and be like, okay, well, the things that I did there, is that me?
Hmm.
Or, building, working through who you are in civil
Hmm.
time. But for me to survive my situation with my biological father, it was the same thing. I did what I had to do to survive that season. Then now that I'm out of it, it's like giving myself compassion, grace, love, all the things
Yeah, yeah.
that I'm not that person that I was taken advantage of in that situation. And what I did, it was because an adult took advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. I know that that's not easy stuff to talk about for
Yeah,
sure.
don't talk about
Yeah. 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 No,
it.
for sure. I totally get that. And well, and that's the thing is you're, we're wired for survival. So your brain is always going to try to protect you. We're, that's the goal always. And so, I mean, if you think about it in that way, whatever anyone had to do to survive something, um, that was because their brain and their body went on instincts and knew what it needed to do to survive. And you can, in a sense, thank yourself for that season of protection, because it could have been a lot worse for people if your brain hadn't been able to go
Oh
into
yeah.
instincts and stuff like that. But the problem becomes is that what used to serve us well to survive actually becomes the thing that keeps us stuck once we're out of it.
Yes, because
Mhm.
getting out of that survival mode,
Mhm.
It's so hard. Like 10 years ago, I prayed for the woman that I am today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't
Cool.
give myself enough grace for it or
Yeah.
nothing. It's like, why are you not a millionaire now?
Mm.
Girl, calm down. You have $5 in your account. That's why
Yeah.
you're not a millionaire yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty much like I have a roof over my head. I didn't 10 years ago.
Mm,
You
mhm.
know, like
Yeah.
I have a brand new car. I mean, it's 2020, but you get it. Like I'm
Right.
not surviving. There's no, you can't have a car payment and say that you're surviving.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, and think about what you'll be looking back on 10 years from now.
I know it's scary to think
Well,
about, but I'm
and
so
the thing
excited.
too, when people they start up any sort of therapy or treatment, which is different from coaching for sure. But that, you know, I'll say to my clients sometimes that there'll be a point when it gets hard and you want to quit. And that's like the make it or break it point, because it only gets better from there once you work through whatever that thing is that comes up. Or the belief of, oh, I'm good enough now, I'm going to stop taking my meds, I'm going to stop going to therapy or whatever it may be, when the things haven't truly been resolved. And so you have to think, is it going to be worth it a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, for me to go through some of the discomfort to get to a place of relief? And I mean, the answer is yes. It's just when you're in it, remembering that.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. I can talk to you forever. I'm trying not to make it too personal, but I mean, it's life with Francie. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but no, I'm having so much fun. And about you, what are you promoting? What about this book? What's happening?
Yeah, so that's still in the works. The book is going to be on imposter syndrome, breaking through your mental barriers and things like that. And the executive psychology coaching, that's aimed towards obviously executives, people in place of leadership who either have some mental or emotional stuff going on that's getting in the way of growing their business, or they feel stagnant or stuck and not able to get to the next level with where they're at. And that's a big passion of mine. I love being able to help people in leadership resolve some of their issues so that they can then also see their business flourish. Because can you imagine a world where there was healthy leadership? That would be a quite different world, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I have different packages that I offer to my clients who want to come on for coaching or for therapy. I do an initial assessment and intake, so I'll be able to tell them what parts of this do I think will be more therapy like, if any, and what would be the coaching
Wow.
portions of it. And we agree to common goals and what the outcome is that they want that's going to make their time and money worth being spent with me, and make sure that they get there. So that's the big thing I'm doing right now. And then, yeah, I got some of those workshops and retreats coming up too.
That's amazing. I love it. I love retreats. I love workshops. I'm down for all of that. And I'm
I'll
here
let you know
just
when they pop
thinking,
up.
yeah, heck
I will
yeah.
for sure.
I'm here like, where were you 10 years ago when my life was so horrible? I needed your message and
Well,
your
I'll have one in
structure.
October that will be virtual, and I'll have one in November that will be virtual. So I'll once it's concrete and I get the marketing info out for that, I'll be sure that you and everyone else gets it.
Yes, please. And I always put descript, so I will have your website and everything on the show notes.
Awesome. Great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll definitely be up
And
on my website. Mhm.
once you have your book too, if you want to come back and tell
Would
us
love
about it
to.
and
Yeah, absolutely.
promote it, I'm down for it too. I love it.
Thanks,
I
Nancy.
hope to have a book one day too, but that takes a lot of work.
It does. Well, and it's one thing at a time. The more you get freed up mentally and emotionally, the more
Yes.
you're gonna have time to hold space for other things. So you'll get there.
And I'm starting to get more comfortable telling my story.
Hmm.
So I think once I stop working through more of the shame and the guilt,
Yeah.
I will be able to speak my truth
Yep.
without triggers.
Yep.
Because right now I'm still susceptible. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Like it's hard. Like if somebody says something wrong, it might send me to a mental health
Mhm.
hospital. So I gotta
Mhm.
watch it and keep doing the work, which is now therapy, mentorship, and
Yeah.
meds. I'm
Awesome.
gonna I'm gonna
Good for you for
ask
getting.
about it. Ask about
Yeah, yeah, you
it.
have a plan in place and you have support. I mean, no one can get to anywhere they want to be without other people. And I always say that healthy people ask for help. And so it's a very healthy part of you that is willing to do the work. So that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, thank you so much for your time and coming on my
Absolutely.
podcast. I
Absolutely.
really
Thank you for having me on.
oh, thank you. I was trying not to make it all about me, but it's just a
Oh, no, you're
conversation about
good.
mental
You're good.
health
I would
and the
love to come back at
brain
some
and
point.
everything. I really love all of that. And even when imposter syndrome, I feel like an imposter right now because like everybody's like, oh my gosh, your podcast, you're doing so good and your energy and everything else. But one came in and she had like almost 1 million followers.
Mhm.
And I was like, and she said that I was the first podcast interview. And I
Oh,
was like,
cool.
all of a sudden, I was like, oh no, you should give it to somebody else. Like, do you want me
Oh,
to hold
no.
it up? you know,
No, no.
like I wasn't deserving of that opportunity, that she felt comfortable.
What, and
So,
so what did you come to the conclusion of?
what do you mean?
Like, did you stay in that or did you get over that?
Oh, no, yeah, no. When it comes to the podcast, I said, with all my personalities, I have 3 that got their life together. So the mail lady, because it's simple, she has a task, is deliver mail.
Mhm.
Everything is good. The podcaster, because like I love podcasting
Mhm.
and I have a structure and I'm very organized and I have standards. Like I didn't
Mhm.
even know that I had standards. And then poly relationship, I'm getting more comfortable being in it
Yeah,
and
yeah,
talking about it.
yeah,
The
yeah.
different parts of me that hopefully they'll all come together one day. But I need some meds on that one.
I'll keep doing the work and it'll happen for sure.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode. Hope you have a blessed day.